Hello there, Internet. We're standing out about as far as we can get. Should turn slow. As far as we can get out here on these rocks. Anyway, same spot as yesterday because I recorded this yesterday. So for me, it's still today. For you, it's tomorrow. How's that for meta? Whoa. So, anyway, I wanted to talk about something I've been meaning to talk about for a little while. Excuse me. Very unspinner related. Although very slightly spinner related in the sense of where it started and where it came from. But the idea is the concept of being offended. Or triggered. Maybe we'll call this one walk and talk. Triggered! With exclamation points, all caps. How's that sound? Maybe 3 exclamation points. I think that's appropriate. Just have a little fun with it. But the reality is it's pretty, I think pretty serious and something we don't really, I don't know if we address enough or we address it the right way. And I know it's something I struggle with and try to work on because I'm pretty easygoing and very difficult to offend. So for me, the idea of someone getting offended almost offends me, if that makes sense. But here's the reality. Well, actually, let me tell you where this came up from first. So I've done it a few times in some of my videos, but I think most notably in my top 10 video, I kind of made a bunch of analogies of a spinner, looking, like a natural beauty and waking up and didn't need to put makeup on, and another one kind of doing that, and kind of, really made some analogies towards women in general, sort of, and it was more like just I thought an analogy that would make sense. But I received 2 comments about that, one directly and one indirectly. One, I just saw someone mention a comment, it might not have even about that specific video, but mentioning that they didn't like how, in someone's reviews, and they called me out, they didn't like that sort of thing. But then someone actually reached out to me, and I'm not going to call that person out, but it was a gentleman for what it's worth, so it wasn't a lady. Not that it really matters, but it takes some courage to do that, and I really appreciate that. We have to be willing to accept that. And realize that that's the way things are sometimes. And, the idea of being offended, I think a lot of people look at as a very black and white thing. Either you're mean and spiteful, you're mean to offend somebody, or you don't. It's much like being racist. You're either a racist or you're not a racist. No, it's not the case. Very few people are just like full on black and white. Yes, I'm absolutely racist and hate everybody. But there's a lot of things that, may be racially biased or do things and not realize it, right? And it's not that you're a bad person, it's just, that's the way it is. But anyway, on the topic of being offended, it's not really my choice or my call, and this is kind of the point I'm trying to make, is it's not up to you whether or not someone got offended. And then the most natural thing is to get defensive and be like, oh, well, that's not what I meant, and that's not offensive. The right answer is, oh, I'm sorry, that made you feel that way. And then, through the conversation that follows, maybe you get a chance to explain what's going on and you guys can get to the same page. Now, we're not going to solve this dilemma in like a little walk and talk video. And there's certainly a line where it would be silly to be offended, and then certainly a line where it's obvious to be offended, right? I'm not going to make an obvious statement because I feel like that's just going to warrant it, but you know what I'm saying? You can say some really hateful things and offend somebody, for sure. But if someone were to reply on one of my videos saying, I'm offended by the word spinner, well, I'm not going to stop doing that. I think we can all agree that that's ridiculous. But somewhere between there's a lot of gray area. And it's not up to me to decide whether or not someone gets offended. How I respond to that is up to me, right? So if someone gets offended by something that I do, I can either, depending on where my beliefs lie around that, stand firm and say, I'm sorry you feel that way. But this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. The alternative or the other option is to acknowledge that and work on changing it. So I've really tried to do that. I've really tried not to refer to my spinners with gender, male or female, but it's just some part of my natural speech patterns where sometimes I say like, oh, she's a good spinner. And part of that, part of the problem is also, English doesn't have as many genders, or doesn't really kind of genderize language like a lot of other languages do. Like Spanish, for example, right? There's feminine words that end in A and plural and masculine words that end in O. It's just a general rule. There's more to it than that, obviously. But there isn't a lot of that in English. So we can kind of throw that around, A lot of people refer to their cars as a she, for example, and stuff like that. But, a lot of times when I'm talking about a spinner, I may say she's a whatever, or this guy is that. And I know I won't be able to remove that entirely. But I am trying to work on especially some of the analogies, right? Like, I don't know. We're not even going to make any here. I think I already identified, what I was talking about. So just want you to know that, one, I heard what some of you have said and taken it on board. And two, think about that the next time someone comes to you being offended, or you overhear that maybe you offended somebody. Your immediate reaction is absolutely going to be defensive, because you don't want to feel like you're a dick and you offended people. But you did, and it's too late. It's how you move on from that. So just something to think about. Be kind to each other, all that good stuff. So enjoy the view. We're on the lake. Normally I can't be anywhere near this because of the wind. It's not too bad today. You guys probably heard it a little bit, but I'm also trying not to bring that up every 10 seconds when it is windy, because that's also annoying. I listen to your feedback, y'all. I do. Still got that portal because it's the same day for me. This might be a good one to have just some general discussion and forum on. So feel free to chat in the comments below, and we can bring it up and talk about it. I'll also say, say whatever you want in the comments. I'm not going to stop you. If it's really stupid, I may remove them. I do that very, very inoften. I really let comments lie. Most of the time I'll just ignore them, but if it's something I'm really not about, I'll remove. But nobody should have a response below like, that's ridiculous, Tim. No one should have got offended that you said that, because that's not what we're talking about. So and there's different degrees of being offended too, right? Some people can get just a little offended by something, enough to mention it, or really offended, so just like everything, there are levels. So anywho, I think that's enough. We're just about off the beach now. So we walked down the beach, we walked back up the beach. So I think this is a good spot to leave the internet. So kisses.